Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo rSlash ChoosingBeggars. So our story for today is from wSlash AM Track Throwaway, with the title of You Aren't Entitled to My Wi-Fi. So a few years back, my wife and I moved city, so she could enjoy some better job opportunities after she finished studying. We scouted out houses and wound up buying one. When our initial intention was just to rent for a while, the new city was much cheaper than the old city. I had to stay back in our old city to give notice at work and settle our affairs while my wife moved to the new city to start her new job. So she winds up setting up all the utilities and getting the house ready. Now my wife works some of her job remotely, so internet is a must-have for us. So we get the big, unlimited package and it's all up and running by the time I get there. Now, unbeknownst to me, the internet/cable guy van had attracted attention of a SAHM, we will call her Sam for short, that lives next door. She gets to talk to my wife and laments that it's taking the cable company forever to fix her internet. My wife, who's looking to make friends in her neighborhood, offers her a password to our Wi-Fi until she gets her fix, which should be just a couple more weeks. Anyhow, I arrived to start my new job, transfer, so same crap, different city, none the wiser that we have a leech sucking at our Wi-Fi. Now the internet is occasionally slow, Netflix runs at a lower resolution, but I chalk it up to our provider being an evil conglomerate that enjoys breaking your spirit slowly. So besides the occasional rant to friends about the amount we're paying for and what we're getting, I don't spend too much time thinking about it. Learn from me, people, don't be a pathetic like me, kids. Look into why your internet sucks. Now about 9 months later, the wife and I are out of town visiting my family. My wife is in the shower when her phone rings. I answer with, "Wife's phone, husband speaking." It's a neighbor lady, she wants to know where we are. I don't usually tell people that we're out of town, but we're neighbors, so I say we're away for the weekend. She sounds pretty exasperated and tells me that there has been a power surge or an outrage or something, that internet has stopped working. I tell her that sucks. Maybe she should contact her cable company or something if her internet has stopped. But she corrects me that it's my internet that has stopped working. I'm confused at this point, but my wife is in out of shower, so I mute the phone for a minute and we chat about it. My wife does that surprise Pikachu face and the whole story comes out. This woman and her family have been using our internet for almost an entire year. I unmute the phone just in time for now an angry neighbor lady to demand to know where we keep our spare key so she can reset the modem/router. I actually laughed at her. "I'm not letting you into my house. You have been stealing Wi-Fi for almost a year now. You have had a good run already. Get your own freaking internet, lady." She gets angrier and angrier. I can't remember everything that was said, but definitely burn up to any goodwill my wife and I might had. Now, we have cameras for our house, but without internet, they were only going to be recording to the hard drive, not cloud storage we could see remotely. This woman was sounding a bit unhinged, and I could hear her kids complaining loudly in their background. So while she's putting one of her spawn on the phone to try to guilt me, my wife uses my phone to call a friend who does have a spare key to go around and check it out. This friend has some insane family, so he understands and heads over. I've long since hung up on the neighbor lady when he calls me to say that when he arrived, her and the 4 kids were busy searching our front yard for a keystone. We don't have one, by the way. He told them to leave, and she and the kids became very irritated until he pointed out that the cameras and told her that he was happy to call the cops. Our friend reset the router and cameras but left the Wi-Fi switch off. When we came home, I promptly changed the name of the Wi-Fi to "Get Your Own Wi-Fi." Changed all the password and made sure that the only devices connected were ours. The internet is great now. I still complain about the evil conglomerate though. And while we've had a couple of run-ins with a neighbor lady, all we have to do is threaten to upload the attempted break-in video and she leaves us alone. Wow, I mean, sure, it's fine to use someone's help during tough times. Temporarily leeching off a willing neighbors is one thing. Continuing to do so for a year is just plain awful. Outright demanding to continue doing so is just ridiculous. Using the kids to enter OP's home without permission is just another level of beggar of its own. Simply monstrous, because they can get into big trouble with the law for trespassing. This woman is not only entitled, but also a bad parent. I haven't met this beggar woman yet, and I do not know her, and yet I still already hate her. It fascinated me how she thinks this kind of behavior is normal, and even attempted to steal the key to break in somebody else's home. Now come to think of it, you start to wonder if she even had her own internet in the first place. There's a very high chance that she was doing the same darn thing with the previous owner leeching their internet. She probably used the same story just to get in. The internet problem she did talk about was probably another neighbor that kicked her off their Wi-Fi. So it has become a running tradition for her to being a parasite. I sure hope you guys will never have to deal with such entitlement, especially from this neighbor from hell. Because these kind of neighbors will wreak off all communication when you don't subsidize with their outrageous demands. I wish there was a way for OP to get her charged for the Wi-Fi she stole in the past year. Did you guys enjoy the story? If you did, I got you covered with 3 more bonus story. On to the first bonus story. I was accidentally leeching off a neighbor's Wi-Fi for a few months. We got these new phones, and for some stupid reason, mine insisted on wanting to connect via the neighbor internet, which, instead of our fast and expensive internet, was slow and crappy, since they were elderly and didn't use the web enough to know they were overpaying for what they were getting. Screw you, Comcast! It took several months of my husband's phone working perfectly on Wi-Fi while mine is crashing and super slow before we finally figured it out. And then we went and had a talk with our neighbors to let them know why their internet might have been slower the last several months. In that conversation, that's when we found out they were being royally screwed, so I guess I'm kind of glad that it happened. My husband was able to call Comcast for them, and with them waiting in the background to give authorization, get their rates lowered to a reasonable amount. And we have another one share their experience. I used to be the property manager of an 8-unit condo complex. I would give out my Wi-Fi passwords to new tenants to hold them over until the internet could be activated, which usually took about 2 weeks. Surprisingly, most people actually did get their own internet in a reasonable amount of time. Some would not. I had a gigabit fiber with an overpowered router, so I wouldn't notice no matter how heavily they use it. But I would occasionally check of how many devices were connected to my network and see that some tenants still connected to it up to 3 months later. I would just change the password and no one ever confronted me about it. And for the final story, we have someone living in the US said, I'm living in the US. My Chinese neighbor tried to fill a fast one on me when I first moved in. This older lady comes over, all nice and everything, asks if I'm settled in. Subtly, not subtly, directs the conversation toward whether I will be getting my own Wi-Fi and could she have the password because the previous tenants let her use it. Told her I wasn't sure to get her out of there, then she proceeds to knock on my door every single evening for the next 2 weeks to ask about my Wi-Fi. Eventually, I told her I wasn't going to give my Wi-Fi password to anyone. She flips out, starts screaming about me being disrespectful, how she was poor and I was rich. We lived next door to each other, so no idea where she got that from, and I was being unkind. Her son and daughter-in-law finally came out after another neighbor called security, apologized, and dragged her back in the house. Later, the son came over to apologize. Apparently, they had their own Wi-Fi, but the lady believed that using their own cost money, so wanted her son to use mine instead. All this for $10 a month internet service, by the way. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Dank Doggo appreciates your time. If you enjoy our content and want to see more of us, stay tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to smash that like button or Doggo will cry. Also, you can always tell us your Doggo comments, your experiences in the comment section. I will catch up with you guys later in the next video.